While thinking about my next video and brainstorming what type of ideas I should take on for my new project, I couldn't help but think of the story of the Scarlet Witch is one that intrigued me and just as well puzzled me. Because from her beginning, I feel like she was destined for greatness, and Marvel looked at her as one of the pillars for the new generation. But what we got from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness just feels like wasted potential to me. So today, I want to take y'all back to a simpler time, one in which the MCU felt like an unstoppable entity destined to just keep growing and growing, and at this point in time, they could do no wrong. From Wanda's introduction to her final moments on screen, I want to analyze where it went wrong or where Marvel stopped really believing in this character. Because I don't think she's coming back to the MCU. Even though her popularity never wavered and her story felt like one that was far from finished, what we got again in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness felt like if Wanda was rushed out of the MCU. It almost felt like they didn't have any plans for her going forward. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the video and I hope you enjoy. This is the story of Wanda Maximoff in the MCU. So while doing the research for this video, I came to two conclusions on why Wanda did what she did. However, I also came to them by different means. And the first reason was because she was done with it. She was done with the heartbreak. She was done with feeling sad. She was done with feeling helpless. The death of her parents when she was young was tragic, as she lost her mother, her father, and her reality all in one afternoon. When a missile was shot into her childhood home, as her family had all gathered around the living room to watch TV together. You see, the famous Stark-labeled missiles aren't only the thing that orphaned the young Wanda and her brother, it was a sign of despair, as at that point her country had entered a full-on war, meaning that both of the young children's lives will never be the same. Now, recently it was kind of discovered, or you can say it was more retconned, that somebody had goofed up because it was stated during the periods of Age of Ultron, Civil War, and Infinity War, Wanda was supposed to be between the ages of 17 to 20, around the years from 2016 to 2018, 2018 being when the events of Infinity War happened. You know, the snap, the thing that in the MCU effectively erased half of humanity, or effectively erased half of all living life in the universe, halting all their age processes because they're dead. However, during the events of Doctor Strange 2, it was stated that when Wanda made her final decision, she was around the ages of 28. And so this was just something that I found interesting while doing the research and trying to figure out what ages she actually was. And like I said, it was retconned. So from the time that Age of Ultron actually started, it was later stated that she was actually 24 during that time, leading her to be around 28 after or during the events of Doctor Strange 2. All of that being left aside for now, a couple of years later and having defeated Orphancy, Wanda now had superpowers, but she was about to learn the cost of being a hero. As it was here in 2016 during the events of Age of Ultron, where Wanda for the second time in her life lost everything. Her brother, the closest person to her and the only remnants she has of her parents, was now too dead, as he sacrificed himself to save a young Sokovian child. But this sacrifice wasn't only her brother's downfall, it was the thing that eventually forced Wanda to live the rest of her life in an altered universe, one in which this time she was truly alone, as she no longer had her parents or her brother. Okay, so I'm going to take this time to ask y'all guys, what do you think can cure a broken heart? Now, if I were just thinking out loud, I would say something like time, Time heals all. Time heals everything, they say. But just for good measure, you can add things like love, laughter, good times with good people. These are things that, can help cheer up the spirit. And although it would take a while, Wanda would eventually get this in the form of the Vision, a super intelligent life form that was animated through the powers of science and magic. Yes, life finds a way. It's beautiful, and although it often leads to more questions than answers, Wanda found a way. She found a new reason to smile. She found a reason to keep on keeping on. That was until it wasn't, as she had to lose it all over again, all over again, all over again, and again. Wanda was somebody who had already been through and endured so much so that she did it until she couldn't. Having realized the gravity of her actions and how much of herself she lost while trying to get it all back, in the end, it was Wanda who had decided her own ending. Instead of trying to relive the same old story over again and again and again, Wanda, looking back at all of this, really was a character born in tragedy. As soon as anything too good to be true happened in her life, it was taken away from her. And not always by the actions of herself, but by the situation around her, by the world around her, by other decisions, other factors around her. She was somebody who was eventually pushed too far, constantly fighting and fighting, having to get back up after life throws you down, and she eventually just stopped fighting. Wanda couldn't find that purpose anymore. Wanda couldn't find that thing that brought a smile to her face, that thing that made getting up every day okay. Wanda couldn't find that anymore. She couldn't see past the bigger picture. Now, this is the part of the story where I start to get a little cheesy, but Wanda didn't know she was a Marvel character. She didn't know she was a superhero. She didn't know that through her own struggle, she was helping other people through their real life struggles. You see, the thing about Wanda was that she was somebody that people can rally behind. She was more of a Tony in the fact that she was just a person fighting her own demons, but she wasn't a genius billionaire. She wasn't that Captain America, super bright-eyed, super just the perfect human spirit. She wasn't that. She was a person fighting her own demons. And she was honestly the best of both worlds. She was an everyday human and struggling every day to try to become the better version of herself in a world that seemed to just keep on stacking the odds against her. Now, this isn't a call to action video to try and get Wanda back in the MCU, because if she doesn't have an actual purpose to be back, then they shouldn't do it. But in my opinion, Marvel wasted the perfect opportunity to make Wanda Maximoff one of their most beloved and famous characters, and that says a lot coming from the famous cast of characters that they pumped out throughout the 2010s. But Marvel didn't see it. They pulled the plug on her at the height of her fame, and I feel like that's something that Marvel's gonna regret for a long time. But that's not what this video is about. No, this video is about why she did what she did. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, this is the second reason why Wanda did what she did. And again, to take y'all back, it's the later half of the 2010s, and Marvel's Infinity War had taken over the world. And I remember a really hot topic back in the day. A lot of people were talking about how the main Avengers or the original Avengers cast wouldn't be avenging soon, as names like Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Don Cheadle, Gwyneth Paltrow were confirmed to be done after Avengers Endgame, and other names like Scarlett Johansson, Chris Hemsworth already had one foot in and one foot out of the Marvel Cinematic Production factory. Now, it's hard to say specifically why some of these people were leaving after Endgame, but what we can say for sure was that Avengers Endgame was an all-time love letter to the fans and to all of the people that pretty much helped bring this story together. It was something that honestly was more of a spectacle than an actual film. It was something that had been building for so long, to the fact that we were actually here in this point where this storyline would finally be ended, and a bunch of the main Avengers saw that as a fitting way to end the series, or at least to let this be their conclusion to this story or to this franchise. That and the fact that the way that the Marvel Cinematic Universe worked was you had your own individual main characters all star in their own movie, each movie leading to something bigger and to more detail being explained. To do this, you would have to keep paying actors every time they reprise their role a significant amount of money, because they had already done this role so many times, to the point that Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo, Don Cheadle, Jeremy Renner, and Gwyneth Paltrow were all paid an estimated $15 million each for their roles in Endgame and Infinity War, with the Golden Goose, the man who started it all, Mr. Tony Stark himself, reportedly making a whopping $200 million just for Endgame alone. So it's safe to say that Marvel probably wouldn't want to get themselves in a situation to where they have to play this character that's been reprising this role so many times, several millions of dollars, because this story can't move on without them specifically. Now, if you're wondering, well, why don't some of the more experienced actors just take less money? That way Marvel can keep paying them and that they can keep being in these movies. Well, you have to think about it from their side. One, would you take less money from a machine that's going to make that money back and then some? If you would, then I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the adults. But Seriously, yes. What experienced person, what person who has done this so many times and knows that they are a very big part of this, wouldn't want to be paid what they believe they deserve? You see, most Marvel actors, when they first get started, they sign something like a 6-year contract with a couple of appearances. Well, Wanda, on the other hand, or more famously known as her real name, Elizabeth Olsen, had originally only signed for 2 films with a couple of appearances. So meaning pretty much everything after Civil War, her and Marvel had to renegotiate. And at the time of this recording, Miss Elizabeth Olsen has already played Wanda in a total of 6 films, plus WandaVision. Combine this with the fact that Marvel had already set the plan for Phase 4 with new stories, new characters, and new actors, it makes it a little bit easier to say goodbye to some of the more tenured characters. Now, do I believe that this is the exact reason why the MCU decided to axe one of their most famous characters at the height of their powers, at the height of their fame, at the height of their story? A part of me does believe that this is a reason to why it happened. Now, I'm someone who does want to see Wanda in the MCU again, but like I said earlier, I wouldn't want it to be for nothing. I wouldn't want her to come back just to come back. I'd want her to come back because of a proper story. And honestly, those are the 2 conclusions I came to. Whether it be because it was the right way to end her story, it was the natural way to end her story, or there was a bigger picture that there was a quota to be made, that's pretty much at least the reasons that I do believe why Wanda was X'd out of the universe when she was and how she was. I would like to say that, oh, there's a good chance that Wanda's going to come back, and it's all possible, but I just wouldn't want it to happen if it's not a good story, if it's not a proper way to bring her back. I wouldn't want them to bring her back just for the shock value of Wanda's alive after all. I'd want it to be told through a good story, and I want it to make sense. There's been theories on why she's alive and how things that happen in the end, how he explains, no, yeah, she's alive, she's gonna come back. But again, those were my conclusions, guys, and I believe this is a good part. Those were my conclusions, guys, and I believe this is a good way to. Those were my conclusions. Those were my conclusions, guys, and I believe this is a good way to end the video, or at least a good. Those were my conclusions, guys, and that was the video. I really do hope you enjoyed. If you like the content, subscribe, like, watch another video, leave a comment below. And okay, so I've done the outro, but I'm kind of stuck on how to end it. I want a better proper ending. However, it's not fitting right. So I thought I was just gonna break character, break the 4th wall, and just talk to you guys. I do really appreciate it if you made it all the way to the end. Leave a comment below. I really do appreciate it if you made it all the way to the end. Leave a comment below. Put down justice for Wanda if you did make it to this point. For those of you who might have been watching the channel, I had talked about a Marvel series that I wanted to make way back in my trough and eye cleaning video, and it took me way longer than I wanted to, and it honestly took me way longer than I thought it would take me. But I'm just happy that I'm at the point that I am where I can finally kind of just get this video off of my chest. I know it's not exactly what I wanted. It's not what I picked. I know it's not exactly what I wanted. Not in the fact that I think it's bad. I think this is really good content. I really enjoyed making this video, but as someone who's like a perfectionist and I want this to be awesome and badass, I'm just glad that I can finally talk about this and finally get the Wanda video out of my mind, and I can continue on to my next project. Like, I really feel like I am making progress in this, and it feels really good, honestly. Like, it feels really good. But again, to whoever is watching, thank you so much for fucking watching. I hope you do like the content. I hope you subscribe. I hope you like the videos. Please like the videos. They do really help. Again, justice for Wanda. Leave it down below. Leave 130. Put 133A if you're watching. Put 133A if you made it all the way over here. That's what time it is right now. And thank you so much. I love y'all. I'm not even gonna trip to say it no more. Alright, thank you so much. I love y'all. Y'all have a good night. I hope everything's good. I hope you do amazing. I hope that by watching this video you can at least do something that you think you can't do. And try to push yourself past your comfort zone. Try to do something that you think is going to help you in the long term, help other people, and just try to do something that's going to make you happy and make your life just feel a little bit more complete overall. Again, thank you so much for watching, guys. Like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. You have a good night. Thank you so much. Bye bye.